If a president sells nuclear secrets to a foreign adversary, is that immune?
That sounds like, similar to the bribery example, likely not immune. Now, if it's structured as an official act, he would have to be impeached and convicted first before...
What does that mean if it's structured as an official act?
Well, I don't know in the hypothetical whether or not that would be an official act. You'd probably have to have more details to apply the Blazing Game analysis or even the Fitzgerald analysis that we've been talking about.
How about if a president orders the military to stage a coup?
I think that, as the Chief Justice pointed out earlier, where there is a whole series of, sort of guidelines against that, so to speak, like the UCMJ prohibits the military from following a plainly unlawful act. If one adopted Justice Alito's test, that would fall outside. Now, if one adopts, for example, the Fitzgerald test that we advanced, that might well be an official act, and he would have to be, as I'll say in response to all these kinds of hypotheticals, has to be impeached and convicted before he can be criminally prosecuted. But I emphasize to the court that...
Well, he's gone. Let's say this president who ordered the military to stage a coup. He's no longer president. He wasn't impeached. He couldn't be impeached. But he ordered the military to stage a coup, and you're saying that's an official act.
I think it would depend
That's immune.
I think it would depend on the circumstances whether it was an official act. If it were an official act, again, he would have to be impeached.
Well, what does that mean, depend on the circumstances? He was the president. He is the commander-in-chief. He talks to his generals all the time, and he told the generals, I don't feel like leaving office. I want to stage a coup. Is that immune?
If it's an official act, there needs to be impeachment and conviction beforehand because the framers viewed that kind of
If it's an official act, is it an official act?
If it's an official act, it's impeachment.
Is it an official act?
On the way you've described that hypothetical, it could well be. I just don't know. You'd have to, again, it's a fact-specific, context-specific determination.
That answer sounds to me as though it's like, yeah, under my test, it's an official act, but that sure sounds bad, doesn't it?
D. John Sauer, huh? His voice seems to be a topic of discussion. Some folks find it quite distracting and challenging to listen to. It's almost as if his throat is putting up a fight against the verbal avalanche pouring out of his mouth. The combination of vocal fry and an intentional raspy quality makes it sound almost inhuman. Perhaps it's a strategic move to keep him from being bombarded with too many questions, leaving the justices with incomplete information. Or maybe it's a sympathy ploy. In any case, he speaks so rapidly that it's reminiscent of that fast talker from the old FedEx commercials. Whether it's part of a grand plan or just the result of his verbal acrobatics, it's certainly a memorable aspect of his presence. And there you have it. D. John Sauer's voice, a curious blend of intrigue and annoyance, echoing through the halls of legal discourse. It's almost like his throat is trying to fight back against the verbal diarrhea that is coming out of his mouth. What the fuck is going on with this vocal fry intentional rasp bullshit? Sounds almost inhuman. It sounds like spasmodic dysphonia, which is also what affects our FK Jr. and Diane Ram, among others. Spasmodic dysphonia, also known as laryngeal dystonia, is a disorder in which the muscles that generate a person's voice go into periods of spasm. This results in breaks or interruptions in the voice, often every few sentences, which can make a person difficult to understand. The person's voice may also sound strained, or they may be nearly unable to speak. Onset is often gradual, and the condition is lifelong.